Well, welcome back to Texas Frightmare Weekend 2022. Lovely to see your faces here. We got no masks except for the monster mask. And we've got a lot of great guests here. We're so excited. And, you know, the questions have been wonderful, and we're so thankful for you guys for that. I'm Paul Salfen, but you're not here to see me. You're here to see the one, the only, Emily Kinney. So let's bring her up. There she is. There we go. Have a seat in my office. All right. Wow. So the Texas Frightmare Weekend. This is such a fun convention, and it's got to be great just to be loved on all weekend. Like, they're such sweet people, right?
Yeah, this is my first time being at this convention, so it's been pretty fun. It's so like packed and busy and really good vibes, and so I'm happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's great. We've seen some great costumes. All weekend long, we just see this. I gotta know, like, when you see the zombies approach you here.
Yeah.
It's gotta be pretty fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun. I'm not too scared because I feel like I'm pretty used to seeing them, so I don't get too scared.
Were you always a big fan of all things scary, like horror movies and things like that?
As a teenager, I definitely was. Like, and I remember in like 5th and 6th grade, even getting into all the scary movies. Like, we used to rent all the Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, stuff in the summer. I remember like going to the video store and renting those, and I always liked all the Scream movies, so that's been cool to see everyone here. Mm-hmm. That movie, yeah.
Isn't that kind of neat though? You know, it's like you go and you rent those movies, and then next thing you know, you're in those movies, and then you're appearing alongside of the people that were in those movies.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, because I do remember watching all those as a kid, so awesome.
It's like a little kid's dream come true. But what was that one movie that you just kind of looked at the screen and just thought, nah, that's what I want to do?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I can specifically remember as a really little kid going to see Curly Sue.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where she's itching with the tights, and I was like, I want to act out all the Curly Sue scenes, you know? So I remember like my mom like having her take me to that movie, and like oh, the tights are itchy. Or I haven't seen that movie in so long, but I specifically remember that one, My Girl, the things that made me want to be an actor anyway. These are where I thought I saw something, and you know, something that I related to or that I wanted to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know we'll get into Walking Dead and all that fun stuff, but first we got to make sure. You know, of course, we always love seeing you big screen, small screen, wherever we can get. What do you got coming up that we need to look forward to?
Yeah, well, I'm a songwriter as well.
Yes.
And so I released a new album this last year called The Supporting Character. Mm-hmm. And then I already have the next album ready to go, which I'll release probably more towards the end of this year. Release parts of it, like singles and things like that. I'll be playing at Americana Fest in Nashville. And so I'll probably have a few shows kind of around there. I'll be announcing more shows. This is for my music, so that's the kind of stuff I've been working on recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while you guys are waiting in line and fumbling with your phones, make sure that you add the music on the Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere good that has music will have her music, right?
Yes.
Good. And will we get a concert from you anywhere in the Dallas area?
Oh my gosh, what's the good places to play in Dallas? What are the cool music clubs? Trees? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, Trees is a legendary place that I guess the lore of it is Nirvana played there.
Oh, wow, cool.
And it's still standing, and that was the infamous one if you're a Nirvana fan. So Kurt Cobain saw someone in the crowd getting roughed up by security and took his guitar and hit the security guard with it. The security guard then jumped up, knocked him out, and pulled him out the side door. End of show. So that's how the lore goes for that one. So if there's a cool place with a little legend to play, that might be it. So there you go. When you hear that name. All right. So I know you guys have some fantastic questions. You always do, and I love that. So, but who's going to be the brave first one to ask it? Anybody? All right. There you go. Right in front.
What was your favorite memory working on The Walking Dead?
Favorite Walking Dead?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. Two that first come to mind are shooting the scene where, oh my gosh, she comes out of the barn. Sophia. when Sophia comes, that particular, like shooting that particular scene was really, really fun for me because it was the first time I got to shoot with the whole cast. Like it wasn't just filming stuff with me and Lauren or me and Scott, and it was just a really great like ensemble moment. And it was also one of the first times where there were like big crane shots, and it felt more like I was on a big movie set, you know? So like that was, and it was just like a really bonding experience. And then another one that comes to mind is Madison Square Garden. We did a premiere one year there, and like Norman rode up on his bike, and I think I was actually off of the show. It was the next season, so season 6, I believe. And it was just so fun. Like it was wild, and I just never been a part of something like that felt so, I don't know, big or something. So.
Yeah, the fandom on the show has been amazing, and I mean, to have its own convention even, you know, so it's got to be interesting to be part of that whole world and just the dedication of the fans, right?
Yeah, I've never been a part of, I mean, I've never really been a part of anything that had these kinds of fans like you guys that are so supportive and just like, yeah, it's really cool.
What's been the craziest costume you've seen this weekend?
This weekend?
Yeah, I've seen a few.
I've seen a few. Oh my gosh. Well, there's some that stand out. There was a guy yesterday. He was really, really tall and kind of like a ghost, and he was like on stilts.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Slender
character
Man.
that is. Yeah. Oh, duh, of course. He was great, and I just was like, wow, that's like walking around on the stilts and everything. He was dedicated. Maneuvering around people, I feel like. And then there's those guys that dress up as like fairies and stuff. They're really fun. I like those guys.
Yeah, it's great. We're halfway to Halloween point, our favorite holiday, and yes, it is a holiday. All right, see, there we go.
You know, Up the Wolves by the Mountain Goats has been one of my most favorite songs since I've seen that scene with you and Daryl in the show. And that was just such a powerful moment with the two of you flipping off the barn, watching it burn. So I was just wondering what thoughts were going through your head in that scene.
Well, that was a really interesting scene to shoot because, you know, you can only start that house on fire like one time, you know, so like you can't, so like we really practiced like the thing, and then we would try to get like another shot while it was burning, you know, so we could have a variety of like close-ups and far-aways and stuff. So I just remember it being really, really hot, and I was like, are we sure we can be this close, you know? So, yeah, I mean, and I remember there was sort of like a moment where we're just like, yeah, we did it. Like, let's get out of here, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. How about all the way in the back there? Yes, sir.
I know they were supposed to drag you out of the prison and kill you, and then they changed the storyline. Was there other spots in Walking Dead where you were worried they were going to kill you off?
I actually didn't know that, so. They were going to kill me?
They followed the comic storyline, but instead they shot.
Well, I don't think Beth was in the comic, but maybe I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, basically to answer your question, like, definitely, like, there were always moments where you were like checking the back of the script, because like, we knew, you know, or you're like, oh God, my line, you know, like, who dies? So, yeah, you were always a little on edge, because we knew that was, especially in the beginning of the show, I don't know if it kind of changed as we went along, but that it was sort of like up in the air, you know, that's how quickly they were turning around the scripts that they didn't necessarily know.
Is there sometimes where they just wouldn't tell you?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they like to keep it sort of under wraps, so therefore didn't always want to say like right away if that was the plan, you know.
So you just talk among the cast, you know what's going to happen?
Yeah, no, we would do that. We'd be like, what'd you hear? Because we would have these meetings before each season where they would kind of give you like an idea of like, oh, this is going to be your character arc, you know, so that you can kind of like somewhat plan, but they would never tell that, you know. Or maybe some people did, I don't know, but yeah, there was always like the calling, like, oh, you going for your meeting with the writers, you know? So.
We're like, am I going to be here next week?
Yeah.
How about right up here?
So how far in advance did you find out that you were kicking the bucket?
Yeah,
And actually, sorry, two
Oh,
parts.
yeah.
And then if you think that you had progressed further through the show, do you think Beth and Daryl would have maybe had something? I'm always a toss up between like Beth and Daryl, or like I'm still rooting for Carol and Daryl.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, first, they told me, and like I said, I think everyone's has been a little different depending on their situation. They told me the night before the script came out for like everyone. So I knew before everyone was like reading it, you know. And then but I only knew it like a week before we started shooting. So I was in the middle of shooting, you know, whatever that was, 5/7, and then we were gonna start 5/8 the next week. So I knew about a week before. And then Daryl, yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I think it was like it was left up in the air as like, what kind of relationship is this on purpose? Because it is, you know, they were just getting to know each other, even just as friends, and so yeah.
So were you sad, or were you just kind of like, okay, well, I guess this is it? 'Cause
Oh, I was very sad. I was like, I mean, I was like the next weekend, like buying self-help books, like I was like, okay, you know, I like got the artist way, and I started like journaling every day, all my feelings, you know, I was trying to like healthily, I was like, okay, how can I like make, you know, it was definitely like a shift. I mean, I'd been on the show for like 4 years, and you know, it's a good enough time to be pretty, you know.
maybe you got some good songs out of it?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, for sure, always.
There you go, how about right in front?
What actor did you feel like the closest connection to? And are you still close with them?
Actor?
Yeah.
That's a good question, because I feel like I have like a good bond with several that, but in different ways, if that makes sense. Scott Wilson, I've always stayed really close with, and Lauren, of course. There's always been sort of like a family feeling, so even if we're not always in contact, and I still stay pretty in contact with Scott's wife, Heavenly, so probably him, but yeah.
Absolutely. The second one.
If I could diverge slightly and ask about your music, do you have anyone that really inspires you, or artists that you particularly love?
So many. I mean, it's hard to pick. My all-time favorite band, which I almost kind of like had to take a break from, is Frightened Rabbit. It's a Scottish band, if you don't know it, but the lead singer had passed away, and so I like almost forgot that, or not forgot, but like I was like, I can't listen. And then just in the last year, I've been like back like, oh yeah, I love this band and I love this music. So Frightened Rabbit, and then I would say probably female singer-songwriters like Joni Mitchell and Karen Carpenter, and are two of my favorites. I've always loved, as a kid, I loved Mariah Carey. So yeah, those are a few. But I like the Eagles. I like so many. But my inspiration is probably more like my music friends. Like I can specifically remember seeing a friend, and this is before I was kind of doing my own music, like seeing my friend play at this place called Pete's Candy Store in New York City. His name is Kevin, and he has a band called Bright Silence. It's like a little Brooklyn band. And I remember like watching him perform his songs, and I was like, I gotta keep writing. I gotta do that, you know, because I'd been like writing but not really like performing. And so my friends, yeah.
What do you say to those people that want to write their own songs and get their music out there? Because that's tough, and also to become an actor or actress too.
Yeah.
Because none of this stuff is easy, but you managed to do both and do it well.
Yeah, you know, it's not easy, and it never really gets easy. Like I would say, I still feel like there's hard parts about it, but it's sort of like when you look at the alternative of doing the thing that you feel really called to do, or that you really love to do, or doing something else, and just kind of like it becomes easier. You know, it's harder, it almost becomes harder for me to not follow the thing that I love so much, or, you know, so I guess like when But I don't know, did that answer the question?
Yeah, it's
Kind
just-
of, or like, is there some, I mean, the main thing is, the thing that you want to do, like, every artist's path is so different. Like, I could try to see an actress I like and be like, come and do exactly what they did, and it wouldn't work out the same for me. Because we're all so different, and that's why it's so cool. Like, we can all play different kinds of parts, and all have different voices. So me singing a Tom Waits song is completely different than Tom Waits singing. So you have to kind of see things and have them inspire you to do the next thing, but like know that your creative path is completely different from anyone else's. I think that
Absolutely.
can be helpful.
For sure. Okay, right over here.
So between the Walking Dead, Messiah, Flash, and Arrow, what were the different approaches you used to prepare for those roles?
Yeah, let's see. They're all very different kinds of shows, right? Yeah, like Walking Dead, there was a lot of rehearsal, which was lucky. So that was a matter of them setting up the show in a certain way that was so helpful. So I got a lot of rehearsal, and you know, since it was a much longer arc of the character, there was a lot of discovery that was happening. So like so I had to sort of go, okay, what do I know about the character right now, and bring a lot of just me to it. Like, what parts of me do I want to bring to it? Because I don't feel like it was like necessarily a fully formed when like the first day on set, you know. Where Messiah, that show, they gave me all 10 episodes before I even set foot on set. So I sort of had this like arc, and I felt like that one I was doing a lot more of the like going through the script, like finding out everything about my character, you know, really filling it in before I even got there. And also such a different character just in terms of what she was going through and the world that she lived in. I don't know if I'm answering your questions. Arrow and the Flash. I feel like the costume informed a lot. So, and also watching the show beforehand and kind of getting a feel for the style, because it's such a style in the show, and it's like a lot of, it's a drama, but it's like funny, and so there's something about style. So yeah, I mean, the main thing I can say though about all of them is I always think a lot about how the character talks, like saying the lines over and over and over and over again until they fit in a certain place in my body. And so that's an approach that I use for everything. I guess it seems obvious, but you know, yeah, I don't know how else you do it, you know. It's like until you know them backwards and forwards and they sit in your body and it starts to like inform everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, right up here.
Two-parter. It was always great cliffhangers on Walking Dead, mid-season finales, season finales. The one with Negan with Lucille, who was going to get hit with the bat. Did any of those guys know beforehand who was going to die in that scene?
You know, I don't know how that went. I think they didn't, but since I was actually off the show, or maybe I was like in my own storyline then.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching it, but I don't think that they necessarily knew. Yeah.
And the other part, do you wish you got bitten by a zombie? And that way be cool the way to die?
That's a great question, because when I first started the show, and even doing like one of my first conventions, I'd be like, yeah, this is how I want to die. I want to get bit by a zombie. I want to do the whole journey. You know, I want to get to play a zombie. I want to have the full like Walking Dead experience as an actor. But now I'm like, you know what? I don't need to see Beth as a zombie. Like, I feel like she's like who she turned out to be is like just such a cool, sweet, like tough person. And I don't know. I just didn't. I was like, I don't really. Now I'm like, I don't want to see her as a zombie. So.
Yeah, worked out okay then. Yes, sir.
What was the experience like being on Arrow and the Flash at Queen D?
Arrow and the Flash.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, it was so fun. That show has been on for a while, and so it was a lot more of, everything is a lot of it's shot on stages, and there's a lot of like special effects. So there was a lot of just like me pretending to talk to things, you know? Or like even there was moments where like bees are forming my face, so like shooting that was literally just me like talking into like a camera. You know, so it was more like really trusting the directors and believing that, okay, it's gonna like come together, you know, in the end.
Is that kind of funny though? Because, you know, like, obviously as an actor you're used to pretending, but then when they're just like, okay, so just stand there and this is gonna happen, is it?
Yeah.
Are you ever just sort of get in your head and just go, does this look okay, right?
Well, luckily, I feel like everyone on that show, like, they are so good at it. They're like, okay, if you do this, it'll really look like it's, you know, like, they know how to direct it. So, but yeah, it is a little scary because they're like, okay, now things coming from you this way, you know, so it's sort of like, I don't know, like, and you're like, I hope that looked like, okay, you know, or like talking to these, like, fake bees, I'd be like, okay, like, go get them, you know. I'm like, does this just look ridiculous? I don't know. So
it's just an empty hand. There's not. They don't like jelly beans.
Like, go off into the, you know.
Oh gosh, it makes it. There's so much more that goes into what you do. That's so cool, though. All right, and I saw a couple of hands. There we go.
How did you get the role for The Walking Dead, and how was that audition process?
Yeah, I did 2 auditions. I did one for one audition, and it was with Maggie Sides. So I knew I was auditioning for Beth, but it was like kind of like fake Sides. And then I just came back like a week later and did an audition for Frank Darabont but over Skype. So that was different only because in that day we weren't really doing, like now I do auditions like that a lot because of the pandemic and stuff, but at the time I was sort of like, oh hey, in there, in that screen, you know. And then, but yeah, I did the same 2 scenes, and then like maybe a few days later I found out I got it, so yeah.
And did you pick anything up from Frank Darabont? I'm sure you guys are familiar with him, of course, the Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption.
I really didn't get to know him much because it was really like I met him in my audition, and then I worked with him for maybe a day or 2 on set. It was really just when we were figuring out, okay, what's Beth gonna wear and how's her hair gonna be, and then they went off to Comic-Con and then I never saw him again. Wait, no, you know what, that's not true. I did not see him again. The next time I was in LA, I did go and get dinner with him.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Scott, you said you'd spent plenty of time with him, of course. How many of you guys got to meet Scott Wilson when he was here? Frightmare, yeah. It's just an amazing guy. Do you have a good story that we can share about his memory?
Oh my goodness, I have so many great stories about Scott. Gosh. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the best one for you guys. Well, he did. I do remember him on the first day when I met him on set, and I was like, oh, how is it shooting? Because I was watching him from a distance shoot a scene on the porch with Rick. Like Rick's asking him about like something, I don't remember what. But I remember him saying that, like, and I related to it because remember how I just said like, oh, I need to know how my character like talks and interacts with me. And he was like, yeah, I was so nervous until I just could talk, and once I knew how this character was going to talk, and I remember that sticking with me. So that's a good memory that I feel like there's not much to say. I'm like visualizing it, but and then there was one year I went over to his house for Christmas, and he was just putting up Christmas ornaments with Heavenly, and it was really nice, and just the way that he was with his wife was really beautiful. So. I don't know if those are 2 good ones.
That's so sweet. That's great insight to a man that he was.
Yeah.
All right. And then I saw another hand over here, right? Or are you stretching? How about that? Okay, who wants to ask the next question then?
Oh, you know what? I have something really good actually. I was just remembering. He sent me he left me a message once when I had a scene, and I kept it. And the other day I was like, oh my god, I still have it.
You guys want to
He
hear
literally
it?
left me a voicemail. Let me see how much it is. And he was like, you did such a good job yesterday.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it's so...
Well, this is special. This is good.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see.
Well, Bossy looks for it, this is it's a good time to say that, yeah, make sure you go by her table too, and there's also this pro photo ops, which are kind of cool. They got the nice red background. And yeah, make sure you're supported. I know it's busy out there, it's crowded, there's a bunch of things to buy, but you know, it's always good to just come by the table and see all the cool things.
Let's see, maybe
Here we go.
you can hear it.
Yeah, let me just put it over here.
Oh, you can. Wait. Oh, maybe you have to.
Yeah, I
No,
think
it's
that.
not.
Yeah, I think if you just yeah, and then if you put your ringer on, I think that's what.
Yeah, it's on.
And the volume all the way.
Oh, it's not doing speakerphone. I'm sorry. Maybe it was.
Can you hear it through your?
Maybe it was just meant for me. He just says, "Hello, dear Scott here, your old man." You were terrific. You were fantastic yesterday. Just wanted to let you know. Talk to you later. Bye. Yeah. But yeah, no,
That's
that
so
was
sweet.
nice. So I kept that, and I kept it forever. I was just so happy that he was like, "You did a good job yesterday."
That's so sweet. You know, I'm on a show called Drew Pearson Live with the Ultimate Hail Mary, and so Drew Pearson is our host, famous Dallas Cowboys, so go Cowboys. And he famously caught the Hail Mary, and our signature question on the show is, what is your Hail Mary moment? Which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and worked out for you. So curious to know what that was for you, where you just kind of felt like, okay, here we go.
I feel like that all the time.
Yeah?
I feel like there's something about performing that's just like jumping off a cliff and we're like, here we go, you know, like maybe I'll mess up. I mean, yeah, and I moved from, like moving to New York City was kind of scary. I'm from Nebraska and my parents had never even been to New York City, so I don't know, I guess that. I didn't have any, I specifically remember I had saved up like, I think it was $800, $1,000.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly how much, but so that's not enough, just so you know. That wasn't enough, but.
Yeah, but you did it. I mean, that's quite a Hail Mary, moving from Nebraska to New York City. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of like even the apartment that I picked, like they were all sort of like, they could have gone a lot of ways, you know? So, yeah.
And what was kind of the biggest thing that you learned about yourself that maybe informed you as an actor? You know, in that, like finding the strength to be able to do that. But is there something that you're like, wow, I really do have this. I've got it.
Oh, I've got this. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think there's something about, you know, as an actor or an artist, I mean, you guys probably know this, or even in any of your jobs, you like can practice or you can prepare, and you want to do that as much as you can, but ultimately what makes you a good actor is being able to like really be in the moment and really be able to listen, and any of your plans, if they work, great, if they don't, you're able to let go. And I feel like that's also something that just helps you in life, you know, like being able to really be in the moment you're in and take things as they come, and I think that helps in acting as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, I see a hand right there.
I feel like it was fun when I was working on it, because it was just kind of like silly and like wild, and seeing like the creations that Greg Nicotero or different people would come up with was pretty fun and cool. But yeah, as a viewer, maybe sometimes it's like, oh, I don't need to see that, you know?
And that's got to be kind of fun though to watch though.
Yeah.
But it gets pretty messy though, right? I mean, it's got to be fun to watch all the prosthetics, because it takes a while for them to do each zombie, and how many zombies are there at a time, right?
Yeah, it takes a while, so.
Goodness. All right, yes, sir.
So, your clip with Scott, great work. Did you ever see his performance in the movie called Why It Doesn't Burn?
Which one?
Behind the Mask, Why It Doesn't Burn?
No.
great Robert England, who's here.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. And actually, on that note, have you been able to get to meet some of the other actors this week? Is there anybody that you've interacted with that was pretty fun?
Yeah, I got to meet Neb Campbell.
Yeah.
She's right next to me, actually, so if you're wondering where my table is. So that was cool, because I've watched a lot of the Scream movies, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's really sweet. And do you get to do anything fun while you're here in Texas? You get to do any beer barbecue, any looking around?
Not too much. I'm mostly just here for you for this.
Yeah.
I'm here. This is the you know, so.
What more could you want?
Yeah.
Smile.
So, but yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to check out some more of those.
Yeah, for sure. We got a lot of fun stuff to do. I'm sure these guys have plenty of great recommendations for food and fun. And,
yeah.
you know, good behavior, bad behavior, all of that. All right, right back there.
Was Beth being like musically inclined in The Walking Dead, was that planned, or was that like something they added in because you are a musician?
Yeah, that's a great question. It wasn't, if you notice, like I don't sing it all in the second season, or season 2 when I joined. And yeah, it was something that they added for season 3. I had done a few music shows and some of the writers had come to my shows, and then right before, what's that?
Oh yeah, because I told you to turn the ringer back on.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
now I'm like getting notifications. Okay. So yeah, they call, you know, Glenn Mazzara, that was his idea. So he called and said like, oh, we're thinking of like having you and Lauren singing and around the fire. So yeah, it was added in.
But that's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking too, right? Because I mean, you're used to singing in front of people, but on a set, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably easier because if you mess up, you can go back. They'll shoot it again. But I thought it was fun. Felt pretty natural.
So you don't get stage fright?
I do.
Okay.
I get pretty nervous. But I don't know, I go through waves, you know? It's sort of like I said, you just kind of like go, well, here I am, super nervous, like freaking out, just gonna do it anyway, you know? So it's sort of like I've gotten used to just, but it comes in waves, you know? I did a show once, a stage show for like 300 performances, and sometimes I'd be like quite a few performances in, and all of a sudden I'd be getting like nervous before. Like I've done this so many times, but still, and then, you know, I'd have a few nights of having nerves and then they kind of dissipate and I could, you know, but I always get excited and nervous. Just sometimes it's more that like fear nervous.
Yeah, it's a little scary, that's for sure. Right up here.
How long did the makeup process take?
Not too long, because I would literally just roll out of bed and then they'd cover me in dirt and sweat and, you know, if there was something special, so yeah, I was in and out, you know, I just kind of like, they'd like make my hair messier, you know, than it was when I showed up. But the only time it took longer is the last season. I had a few bruises and cuts and stuff, like I don't know if you remember when I had like stitches on my face, or like I had the cast. So every morning they put on a new cast, and then every morning put on the stitches and the cut. And that actually did take quite a long, so that would be like a couple hours.
A little dirt, a little sweat. I don't know, you hang out in Atlanta outside long enough, it might happen anyway.
Yeah, you didn't have to do too much, to be honest.
This guy, I saw a hand up over here. Yes.
What made you want to get into music or something?
What made you
Yeah, I mean, similar to acting, it was just kind of like something I wanted to do since I was really little. Like, we're talking like 4 and 5 years old, you know, I was memorizing songs and singing them. It was really music first that I thought I wanted to do was be a singer. And then as I got older, I kind of started to realize like, ooh, you know, like musical theater or acting, or like, the thing that I liked about singing was the storytelling, and I liked being able to connect with people on an emotional level. And I remember I used to sing in church a lot, and people would say to me like, oh, I like when you're the song leader because we can always hear the words, and that really stuck with me as sort of like a guiding thing of like, oh, what's important is the story aspect for me. So I mean, and I love music, but Yeah, so music was sort of like, I'm trying to think when I started out. Yeah, my first things were just like, I would be in like talent shows, and I grew up in a small town in Nebraska, and they had this thing called Lions Club Talent Show, which like probably a lot of people have, you know. And so I signed myself up. That was my like first performance. I think I was 7, and I sang my favorite things from Sound of Music, and I got 2nd place, and I got a big trophy. and then I was hooked. Not because of the trophy, but just yeah.
Doesn't hurt. Yeah, does the, well,
Are we, done? There we go.
do you get back to Nebraska at all?
Not too much. I mean, my extended family lives there, like my grandpa, my cousins, but my parents actually live in Colorado Springs now, so, and my sisters. So usually if it's like Christmas or something, I go there. So not in Nebraska too much, but I was there like last summer.
Yeah.
So once in a while.
What do they make of all this, all the success that you've had? They must be like, oh, that's crazy, because you know, it's that we don't see enough people coming out of Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they seem pretty excited and about it, and yeah, but it's still just kind of, I feel like, yeah, it's just like almost like normal since it's just family, and like I've sort of like always been doing something, even if it wasn't on, you know, like obviously Walking Dead reached a whole other scale, but you know, it's kind of always been the artsy one or something, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we got time for a couple more questions. You guys got another couple good ones to close us out here? There we go, right in the back. You okay with how about that?
I'm okay with it, yeah. I feel like at peace with how it went down. I'm not like trying to rewrite it or anything, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. And let's see, anyone got a really, really good one here? There we go.
How do you think it survived during the time when the group met Negan? How do you think her character arc would be like from there on?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. That's a long. I don't know. I do feel like she would have gotten tougher. Maybe her and Maggie would have teamed up a little more. That'd be kind of cool. Like 2 sisters like fighting against the world and like, you know. So that's how I imagine her, definitely just kind of adapting to the world a little more.
Well, to close it out, let's talk about that success mindset that you have to not only do well in movies, but music and TV shows and all that. Is there something that you tell yourself that you keep in mind that keeps you on the right path even when things are tough?
I think it's changed throughout the years. But yeah, you know what? When I did Messiah, one of the actors, his name was Mehdi, he said to me, I feel like every job is a spiritual assignment. And that really stuck with me because I think in acting, you get rejected a lot, and probably in a lot of careers like that you guys face, or, you know, there's a lot of rejection, but I also feel like looking at the next step, like the parts that I do get as like something almost meant to be, or something almost like, well, I'm supposed to like really do my best in this moment in this way. And so I guess like looking at rejections as almost like guides to the next thing, rather than as like, oh, I failed, I'm the worst, you know? So I think that has been something I've been really like lately, because you do just have to get rejected a lot to get, so like lately I've been feeling as like I sort of almost go like, yes, next thing, you know, like this isn't what I like, it's almost as a guide. I don't know if that's helpful.
I like that, spiritual assignment.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, well, before we go, something cool that we've been doing at the end of the panels is to take a picture, a little selfie with the crowd with us. And so if you guys could stand up, we're going to get everybody in this, and we're going to make a look at it. Ready? Yeah, you want to take a picture? All right. Here we go. You guys ready? Yeah, let's do it. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, there we go. And then, here we go. Ready, guys? I'm going to do the big long monkey arm. Ready? 1, 2, 3, everybody in. All right, thank you guys. Big round of applause. Texas Frightmare Weekend.